So let me ask you a question then,
Okay.
to crack it open.
Okay.
What sparked your interest in becoming a student athlete?
Uh, I I really think y'all, like you, just being very active in sports. I guess I just wanted to be along for the ride. Um, I don't have a particular memory where I specifically said like I want to play sports. I just have memories of me playing sports, and once that spark happened, I guess I kept playing sports. Um, but I someone talked to me recently and I kept talking to them and they're like, you just like to be in community, sounds like. So maybe that's why I like sports, because I was always in like a community. I was always around other people who were my age. We were hanging out together. So I treated sports like a social club more than anything else. So I think that's why I like sports and I kept doing it.
Okay, okay, okay. So I'm hearing that you felt that was more of a community.
Yeah.
So did that community inspire you to perform academically as well, or was it just that was your outlet and it didn't have anything to do with academics?
It might have just been my outlet. I keep everything separate. Still today in my life, I keep a lot of things in their buckets. So whatever I'm doing on the academics front, I'm making sure that I'm focused on academics, and being the best that I can be there. If I was doing something in the sports bucket, I was making sure that I was doing what I needed to do in the sports bucket. So I don't think they cross paths as much unless I was like on the team with someone who was also in my classes and we would talk about it. But I would remember like doing my homework on like the bus and things like that. So that's when it would cross paths. But yeah, I normally keep my buckets separate, and make sure that whatever is in its bucket is staying in its bucket.
So you said you were doing your homework on the bus. So
Uh-huh.
did that prevent you from being game ready when it was time to perform in a game?
I don't think so. I've always been a multitasker. Still to this day, I still multitask and I get whatever I need done. Um, I think, I don't think it did. I don't think it bothered, messed up my game. But you have to remember that when I was playing sports, I was treating it like a social club. So sometimes I'm like, I don't even know if I was the best player on these teams that I was on, just because I was treating it like a social club. I was treating it like staying active. Um, so yeah, I would say that when I was doing the sports, I was serious about being the best that I could be because that's who I am. But at the same token, I didn't have my sights set on becoming professional in any of these sports that I played. So I was focused on doing the best that I could, having fun. Um, but I think in each moment, I made sure that I did whatever I needed to do to be the best that I could be where I was.
Okay, okay. So let me throw this curveball at you.
Okay, throw the curveball.
This curveball. Uh, if you were criticized as a student athlete on your team,
Yeah.
how did you handle that? Or were you ever criticized, you think?
I probably was. Um, I think I probably was. I felt like a lot of pressure was on me. A lot of times you were my coach. So I'm like, dang, I have to be like the best because I'm the coach's daughter. So yeah, I think I took criticism kind of hard. When you're a kid, I think all kids take criticism hard. Um, but I think that helped me today because life is hard and a lot of people won't like the things that you do. So I just learned how to shake it off and move on, and I kept playing the sports. Like throughout high school I played sports, throughout elementary, middle I played sports. So I think by the time I got to the an older age, I was used to criticism or people telling me to change up what I'm doing. And even in college, when I was rowing on the rowing team, that was all criticism. I never rowed a boat in my life. So, like, the training was hard. We were critiqued at every point. We had practice morning and night, and in the middle of the day. We had to go train. We still had to train in the middle of the day. And then, like, to prepare for our races, we still were training really hard and always being critiqued at every point. So, like, by that point, like, I was used to being critiqued, and used to being on a team. So, like, I think at first it was hard, but by the time I got to high school age, college age, it didn't really matter to me anymore if I was being critiqued. I just took the feedback and implemented it and tried to do the best that I could in whatever position I was playing.
Okay, okay. Actually, you answered my next question.
Okay.
I was going to dive into how did participating uh, mold you for your journey of life, but you covered that. You say, you know, those journeys during that time help mold the person that you are today. So
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a bright light. I like that. That makes me feel good being a mentor in your life, and I was able to influence you uh, to be on your game as an adult
Yeah.
in this new journey of life.
If you
I like
ask Taya, if you ask Taya, she says that sports kept me from being bad and getting in trouble. I don't know how true that is. Does that sound true to you? Do you think I would have been a bad kid if I didn't play sports?
you know Honestly, as a coach, as a parent, as a mentor, I think sports do help keep young people out of trouble. So I think it's a distraction, a positive distraction. Um, and if you're with the right people, it's the right molding you need to carry you on. I do believe in communities, and sports. It's a community. We don't label it as a community, but it's a community. It's if it's a group of guys, it's a brotherhood. If it's a group of girls, it's a sisterhood. If it's a combination of both, it's a co-ed community. So, yes, I really think it did keep you out of trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it. It was just, I think it was just the thing that I was doing, and I didn't realize that it was keeping me out of trouble or keeping me occupied and my energy intact. Or yeah, I don't know.
So the next question I want to present to you is when did you know it was time for you to transition out of sports and just focus on day to day living?
Yeah, well, I think I felt like it was so a part of me for so long that I didn't even realize it was time for me to stop. Um, so I'll talk about high school a little bit. In high school, I think I realized I no longer wanted to play softball, partly because I got injured. That was kind of a traumatic experience for me. Um, but then I've been doing it for so long and I wanted to try something else that I've never tried before. So I think the injury was a catalyst for something that I already knew I wanted to do, which was to try other sports and other things. So I think when things happen in your life that might be a little bit traumatic, that pushes you into a new direction. When that happened, I went towards lacrosse, and I liked it the first year that I did it. Lacrosse was really, really fun. But then once again, that was just me trying things out. So I was like, lacrosse is probably not my sport. It's not something I'll do forever, but it's fun to try in the moment. I tried volleyball. I was not good at volleyball. The only thing I was good at was serving the ball, but that's probably because of softball and other arm like sports. So I think in high school, I kind of probably knew that sports was not my place anymore, but once again I was still treating it like a social club, and my friends joined like the lacrosse team with me, so like it was still a social environment. um, but I think by high school I knew that sports was not for me particularly, like to do professionally or even in college. And in college, I kind of got convinced to join a sports team. Like I said, I did rowing, but like I didn't go into college with the mindset of joining a sports team. I had a roommate who wanted to try out for rowing, and she didn't want to do it alone. And I was like, ugh, I hate feeling lonely. I understand. So I went to the interest meeting with her. I did the workouts with her. Like they made everyone train like a week or two before tryouts. And then those trainings were intense too. They had us running through forests. I was like, I can't believe I was doing that just because my roommate didn't want to feel alone because she was trying out for a new sport that she'd never done either. But yeah, I went through all of the training, and then I even went through the tryouts, and I made the team. And I was like, well, if I made the team, I got to do it. Like it's a commitment that I set for myself. I don't want to like not accept making the team. So in college, I did it for a semester, joined the rowing team, and then it was really intense. After doing maybe like one or two competitions, I can't remember how many I did. I was like, yeah, I this is not for me.
Mm,
So
okay.
yeah. So like this is who I am as a person. I like to go super hard and put my all into something, and then once I go through the entire experience and I realize that it's not fun, or I feel like it doesn't mesh with who I am, then I'm like, okay, it's not for me. But at least I went through it, I tried it, and it was no longer a regret that like what would have happened if I did try it and it was for me. So like that's how I gauge it. Like if I go through the entire experience and then I do it, I do all aspects of the thing, and then I'm like, all right, this doesn't feel fun, it's not for me, then that's how I know it's time to move on and transition to something else. So,
So
yeah.
so let me go here. So do you think sports had anything to do with your ability to be a part of your career field or your journey as an adult, um, blending and making a difference?
Yes, because when you just think, when you are on a sports team, you get placed on a team with people you've never met before, and you have to make it all work. You have to be in sync. And every single sports team I was a part of, I had to learn how to be in sync with other people. So, like, if someone had a weakness in one place and I had that strength, how can we work together to be as cohesive as possible to win this game, to strike the person out, to do whatever we needed to do to win? So, I do think sports did help. I always say that life is a team sport, whether people realize it or not. When you walk into any situation, you will automatically be placed on a team, and you have to figure out how to win together with the strengths and the weaknesses that everyone has. So I do think so. Um, and growing up, I played like rec sports. So when you play rec sports, everyone doesn't go to like the same school. So like you are meeting people for the first time. You don't know any of these people. You have to get to know them. Once again, you have to get to learn their strengths and weaknesses. And then you have to figure out how to work cohesively together to win. Um, and then like your coach is like your supervisor. So yeah, the when you are playing sports, you are entirely in a work environment without even realizing that you're training for a work environment. So yeah, every single sports team I've been on has trained me. Even even when I was on the rowing team, I had scuffles with my roommate, but we still had to work together on the rowing team. So like That's like being in a work environment with a coworker that you have a scuffle with, but you still got to figure out how to work together to produce whatever it is that you're producing for the company. So yeah, every every environment I've been in has trained me for the work environment. That's why when I walk into work environments now, I'm not really stressed, and I try not to let the situations that happen around me stress me out because I've already seen all of these things before, being around so many different type of people growing up playing sports. Um, as in terms of the actual work, I at the beginning of my career, I worked a lot in sports. So I think it helped me in that sense because I understand the type of people that were in the sports environment. Um, my mom watches basketball, and that was basically the type of work I was doing. I was working on basketball, so like I understood the game of basketball. So that it made work a little bit easier if I needed to do something or change something that revolved around the work that I was doing. So yeah, I think without me even realizing it, yes, sports played a huge part in my career journey, in terms of how I work with other people and in terms of even understanding the content that I was working on, at the beginning of my career.
Okay, okay. Well, I've truly enjoyed this chat. Um, I want to ask one more question.
Uh huh.
But once I ask this last question, we're in this session of student of the game,
Uh huh.
and and then we'll do some follow up chats later on. But we're in this session, and come back. The the
Okay.
the the last question I want to ask you, the very last question, what was unique about each team you played on, and
Oh,
how did you feel you impact that team?
this is hard because I I started in sports in elementary school, right? As a cheerleader.
Correct.
And
Correct.
I I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember every single thing I did as a cheerleader because I was so young as a cheerleader. So I don't know what type of impact I made on that cheer squad. You probably know what
So,
type
well,
of
let's back it up from cheer squad then.
Okay.
I mean, let's move forward from the cheer squad.
Okay, let's move forward from
Let's
the
say
cheer
we move
squad.
forward to where you can recall uh, a team
Okay.
and your contribution to that team.
Okay. So I'll start with defining moment. So a defining moment was going to gymnastics camp because I why are you laughing?
That captured me because most young adults cannot recall their journey in athletics.
I
Uh,
can.
you recall cheering, you recall gymnastics just now. You mentioned rec activities. That's impactful to young
Yeah.
adults and older adults if they
Yeah.
can sit back and they reflect on their journey. Uh, most people don't have that opportunity to sit back because once you become an adult, it's so fast paced that you
Yeah.
don't do any reflecting.
That's true. Okay, that's true. All right. Yes. So I remember small like defining moments in my journeys. So even before gymnastics camp, I'll go before that. Yes, I played rec ball. Um, and I remember the parks the most. So maybe me going to the parks and the people that I met who ran those parks, that was me making an impact. Like not even playing the actual sport, but meeting the people. I feel like that's where my biggest impact came because I could probably go to those people again today and have a full conversation with them and they still remember who I am just because I was always there. So like I would say my biggest impact is the people, not the game that I played. I've mentioned the gymnastics camp because of the same thing, the people that I met there. I feel like everywhere I go, I tend to make friends or acquaintances and I have fun. Like I remember at the gymnastics camp, we were going to some field trip, and I remember Drake playing on the radio, and we were like all singing together, and it was just a fun environment. I didn't really care to learn how to become a gymnast. Like I was going into ninth grade at that point. I didn't care. They made us run. I remember they made us run laps around the parking lot before the day started at the camp. And I specifically asked to be dropped off after that because I didn't want to run the lap. So I'm like, every situation I went into, yes, it was sports, but like I treated it like a social club. That was 100% what I was doing. And then of course we learned the cheer. Like we had to learn cheers, and we had to do the stretches. And they tried to teach us how to do like the flips and stuff. But like I barely remember that part because I remember the part of me talking about people, like talking to people, not about people, talking to people. I remember that was around the time where like the jerk was popular. So some of the kids were trying to teach me how to do the jerk. I didn't know how to do the jerk. So like that is what I remember about being a part of sports teams, like the time off the field, not necessarily the time on the field. Um, and then softball, to be honest, in high school, that entire softball year feels like a blur. Like I don't remember me playing softball in high school, even though I played softball in high school. And then lacrosse, the that's also I played 2 seasons, but that's also kind of a blur. Like the seasons blur together. I know some people left for the second season, but I don't remember who was on the first season versus the second season. But I remember me and my friends joining, and I'm pretty sure I convinced them to join lacrosse because they had never played sports a day in their life either. So I'm like, once again, treating sports like a social club. Um, what else? Volleyball. I think I joined just because one of the teachers that I liked coached the team. So like once again, a social club for me. And then I already told you about my rowing experience. I joined because my roommate didn't want to do it alone. So in a sense, that was also for the social vibes. And then one of the other girls on the team ended up becoming my roommate my senior year of college. So once again, a social club. That's all sports was to me. It's so bad to say, but I'm like, if someone needs a community and they are new to a community, new to a high school, new to something, joining a sports team is a good way to become a part of a community and get some friends and have people to do things with. So yeah, that's exactly what I treated sports like a social club. And I think the impact that I left at each one of these places is probably my positive outlook and experience. I don't know. I don't know if I was the best player on any of these teams, but I know that I've always been a very positive person and I get along with a lot of different type of people. So maybe I was placed on those teams to maybe bring up the energy on the team. I know I was quiet in high school a little bit. I think I think I was a little bit more quiet, so like maybe I wasn't talking to everybody, but I talked to some people and I bonded with the people that I talked to. And I didn't mention Diamond, but Diamond came from my time being on sports teams in the rec league, and we were really, 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 really close in high school because we grew up playing sports together. So like, yeah, I think my friendships came from sports in my youth.
You know, I thank you. And I really think that it is definitely, I think sports is definitely, it's that connection piece. That's where we form our connections. Um, really like to dive into another
Yeah,
topic, but I
come on.
can't. I can't
Yes, you
dive
can.
into
Let's
it
go.
today.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Ask the question.
let's dive into it. I
Yeah, let's do
well,
it.
I I think today um, we don't have that opportunity the same way we had before. Social media has really tapped into that true bonding that we had before, because you really had to get in there physically being connected with people, meeting them, touching them, you know, being on that bus together, singing that Drake song, you know. But now we can't actually get in there with each other and have that bonding time, you know. So
Mm,
I'm not gonna dive into that topic right now. We'll save that for our next chat.
okay.
But I would like to thank you, Deja, for this opportunity to sit down and just have this chat, you know, just to get a feel for how some of my former players are adjusting to that adulthood life, and you know, that journey we took together, you know, was it impactful? Did it touch them? Did they learn something? So just listening to you, I can see right now you learn something every step of the way, and you're still learning.
Yeah.
So,
That's what you
so
listen, that is what you're supposed to do. I don't think I connected the pieces. This is the first time I sat down and actually thought about like what part sports played in my life. But yeah, I think we all learn at every step in our journey, even if we don't realize we're learning.
oh yes, oh yes. So again, thank you very much. We're gonna end this chat, but hey, look to hear from me again. We'll get together and we'll do this all over again. And furthermore, we will add other guests
Yeah.
along with our chat. So we build our community. This is our new community. This is
Yeah.
our chat community where we have the students of the game come together and at one location, and we just talk about the past. So again, thank you very much and look forward to doing this again.